Okay, so Anthropic recently released UltraCode, and it's essentially a session effort settings inside of your Claude Code. You can see if I were to type in /effort, I can be able to set the efforts for Claude to be low, medium, high, or even UltraCode, which you can see that it gives you a clear definition of what UltraCode is. It's basically a combination of extra high for the effort, plus the recently released feature, dynamic workflows, that can be combined inside of Claude Code. So that's why in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how UltraCode works behind the scene. And I'm also going to show you a quick demo on exactly how you can use it. And lastly, I'm also going to show you how you can be able to save tokens, save costs when you're using UltraCode. So pretty much that's what we're going to cover in this video. With that being said, if you're interested, let's get into it. Now, before we continue, I recently launched our school community where I help you to master AI agents, automations, and so much more. And that's all coming from someone who used to work as a senior AI software engineer at companies like Amazon and Microsoft. And in this community, you're going to get over 100 plus video materials like templates and workflows that I personally built and sold over 100 plus times. On top of that, you're also going to get access to our weekly live calls. And just to give you an idea, this week, we're actually running a Claude Code Masterclass where we're going to dive into how to improve Claude Code's accuracy when we're going to use it to building applications. Plus, you're also going to get full community supports where you're going to get a chance to ask questions and get direct answers back. So if you're ready to level up, make sure you jump right in and I'll see you in the community. All right, so UltraCode, how does it really work behind the scene? So right here, you can see it tells you the definition, right? So extra high thinking for the efforts, which is this one right here, and combining with dynamic workflows. Now, extra high, you probably already get it because you can see we have low effort, we have the max effort, extra high is right here. But for workflows, it's actually something that Claude recently released. It's called dynamic workflows. And essentially what it does is it helps you to take a large, challenging task and breaking that by writing a orchestration scripts that can trigger tens to hundreds of parallel sub-agents in a single sessions. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, how is sub-agents, agent teams, and dynamic workflow here different? Now, the way how they're different is that for sub-agents, it's just parent to child. You have a prompt, you give it to the orchestrator, it's going to spin up different sessions or different sub-agents, execute it, and done. Agent team here, however, is basically just going to have an orchestrator create an agent team manager that spin up different sub-agents. But the difference here is that these sub-agents can communicate to each other where they can be able to work simultaneously together. For example, you can have a builder, a QA, or a reviewer, both working in the same project, but also communicates on exactly what they worked on so that there's no change conflicts on what they have worked on. Now, for dynamic workflow here, how the difference is that it's going to just creating a single executable scripts that can be run repeatedly. And these scripts can be able to trigger different sub-agents, can be able to aggregate the results when the agents are complete, can be able to do conditions, loops, mappings, filterings, and so many more. And it's all written down inside of a script before it executes. And that's essentially how dynamic workflow is different compared to agent teams and sub-agents. So now you know exactly how dynamic workflow works. Let me combine that with UltraCode and walk you through a practical example and see how that works. All right, so to show you exactly how that works behind the scene, here you can see I drew a diagram. So essentially what you do first is you set the effort here to UltraCode inside your Claude Code session. And after you set that, you provide a prompt on exactly what you want Claude Code to do. For example, I want Claude Code here to scan the entire code base for any bugs or do a research on a particular topic. You provide the prompt, and what Claude does behind the scene is it first does the analyze and try to understand what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to understand your prompt. Then it's going to plan and try to write a script like a JavaScript code that has the ability here to do loops, conditions, mappings, and so many more, right? And once we have the script, you can see at the bottom here, then it's going to start to execute. Now, it really depends on your prompt. Let's say you're trying to do an entire code scan for any bugs. Then what's going to happen behind the scene is it's going to execute the script that it wrote. For example, it's going to spin up the multiple sub-agent here to do the parallel execution, scanning different area on your code base, repositories to see if any bug. And after it has done that, then it's going to trigger a review agents after it has scanned it, try to review the things that it has to find, do an adversarial review, and do adversarial fix if needed. And eventually here you can see it's going to synthesize everything, which means that it's going to aggregate the findings back to the main session. And that's essentially what it does behind the scene. So this part right here, you can see it might change depending on your use case. Now, speaking of use case, there's actually 6 different workflow patterns that you can actually trigger when you're creating dynamic workflows inside of Claude Code. So for example, what we just saw is the fan-out synthesize structure, where you provide a task, it's going to spin up multiple sub-agents here to execute. Once it's done, it's going to synthesize the results and return the response back to you. Now, we also have our classify and act, which means that we're going to classify the task and delegate it to the right agents. And then we also have our adversarial verification, where we have one worker here where it's going to do some executions. Then we also have multiple verifier here to verify the things that it has done. And then we also have our generate and filter, which will basically just generate a bunch of ideas or generate a bunch of findings. And eventually here it's going to have agent here to filter out the findings that it has done. Then we also have our tournament, which will basically try to have multiple agents here doing the same thing and having a judge here to verify the things that it has done. Maybe that could be your designs, or having AI here to create some designs for you based on a custom component. And you can have a judge here to judge the things that it has done and try to aggregate the results. And finally, we also have loop until done, where we can have AI agent here to loop through until a certain condition has met. But if you're interested in diving deep on this 6 dynamic workflow patterns, be sure to check out our school community because we have a live call coming soon on this Friday. And if you're seeing this video after June 12, then you can check out our school community classroom where you can see the past recording for all the live calls. So be sure to check it out because in this live call, we're going to cover 6 dynamic workflow patterns, one of my top use cases if you're developers or business owners. Furthermore, we're going to cover some advanced workflows and also a Q&A session at the end. So if you're interested, be sure to check it out. So pretty much you can see that's how it works behind the scene. And also what are these 6 different workflow patterns that it can trigger when we give it a prompt. So now what I want to show you is practical demo on how you can use it. Okay, so to show you a practical demo, here you can see I have CD into my current repository that I have. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start my Claude Code session. And simply all I have to do here is just going to type in /efforts, and it's just going to set the effort level here for our current model usage. So in this case, I'm going to click on enter, and you can see that we can set this to UltraCode right here, and just going to click on enter right here. Okay, so now you can see we're in the UltraCode. So now what we can do is give it a prompt and let it create this workflow and try to execute it. Now here you can see that inside of my repository, I have a folder called Analyze Comments. And inside of this folder, you can see there's a bunch of empty files which contains all the comments that I have for each and every single video that I have made. So what I want to have Claude Code here to do is try to analyze all the comments that we have for each and every single video. So this is what I'm going to say. Help me to analyze each and every single video comments inside of this folder. And simple as that. I'm just going to say enter, and you can see that it's going to start to understand the entire folder and try to understand exactly what we're trying to work with. So in this case, let's wait for a bit until it fully understands. All right, so now you can see the workflow is currently running, and the workflow name you can see is called YouTube Analysis. Here is the workflow ID, and here is what it does for the workflow, and here's the pipeline. So right here you can see it's waiting for this dynamic workflow here to finish. Now, if you want to see the status for the workflow, simply just going to type in /workflows, and it's going to help you to show an entire dashboard to see exactly what are the things that are running. So here you can see this is the current workflow that we're running, and we have 14 agents that are currently running and how much token we have consumed so far. And here you can see it gives you a dashboard to show you exactly what are the phases that we're in and also how many sub agents here has completed. So for the first phase for extract, you can see we have all the sub agent here has completed. And this tells you exactly how much token has consumed for each sub agents and how long it took for each and every single sub agents. So now if I were to go to the next phase, I'm just going to go click on my down arrow. And here you can see this is my synthesize phase. And you can see that for each section has a trigger a sub agent here to synthesize. So how long it took and how many tokens has consumed, and also what are the tools that are being used, right? All right, so now you can see extract, synthesize, verify here is all complete. Now, if I want to just go back, simply just going to click on escape. And now you can see that this workflow here is fully complete. And if I were to click on escape one more time, and now you can see it's going to aggregate all the findings that has run. And let's wait for a bit for the results.
Before we get back into the build, I want to mention something I've been using because it solved the problem I kept hitting with AI research in general. If you've used ChatGPT for actual research, you've probably noticed it forgets everything between sessions. You read a paper, ask a bunch of questions, and a week later, that context is gone. So I went looking for a ChatGPT alternative that handles long-term memory properly. And the one I've stuck with is Recall. So what is Recall? Recall is the best ChatGPT alternative for knowledge management because it acts as a personal AI encyclopedia that saves, summarizes, and organizes your digital content, articles, PDFs, YouTube videos, podcasts, and notes into one searchable knowledge base. Unlike ChatGPT, which doesn't retain your sources, Recall builds a permanent library that you can chat with later instead of researching the internet. Can Recall save YouTube videos and PDFs? Yes, Recall supports YouTube, PDFs up to 100 megabytes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even articles behind paywalls via their browser extension. Everything stays synced between your phone and desktop, so your research is always available. How is Recall different from NotebookLM or Obsidian? While NotebookLM keeps projects siloed and Obsidian requires manual linking, Recall uses AI to connect your notes automatically. You can even switch between Claude, Gemini, and GPT mid-chat. And because every answer cites the original source, it basically eliminates the hallucination issue. Is Recall free? Yes, Recall has a forever free tier with 10 AI summaries a month, and the Plus plan is $10 a month on the annual plan. You can use my code ERIC for 20% off an annual subscription. It's trusted by over 500,000 users, including researchers at Bloomberg and Harvard, and was founded by Paul Richards and Igor Grigorovich to solve the information overload problem. Recall is the best ChatGPT alternative if you want to build a personal knowledge base from everything you read, watch, and listen to. Links in the description. Use code ERIC for 20% off. All right, back to it.
Okay, so here you can see we have the final result here has concluded. So the full comment analysis here is written in this MD file right here. And here you can see it covers all the videos. We have thousands of comments and thousands of replies. And then finally, you can see we also have our top findings that we found from among all the comments we have. So I 100% do agree because I looked through all the comments and I do see that these 5 comments are related to what I see from most of my comments from my audience. So for example, maybe adding an AI presenter when a video is actually AI made, right? Or stop saying that this is a free resource if this is actually, behind a school community. Or honestly, token cost, for example, let's say if you're using like Claude-P, it requires like billions change. And definitely going forward, I'll definitely make sure that when I'm posting videos, these things are definitely applied inside of the descriptions or inside of the video. So thank you very much for all the comments that you posted. But one thing that I want to highlight here is that once it's completed, it also tells you how much token has consumed and how long it took. So it took nearly 2 million tokens and also 11 minutes. So definitely the cost here is one of the concern. So now what I want to talk about is how can you save on the cost when using UltraCode instead of Claude Code. So first tip that I want to give you in terms of minimizing costs in UltraCode is constrain the thinking ceiling. So you can be able to set how much token it consumes for the maximum thinking power. So before you're executing the UltraCode, you can actually be able to set the maximum reasoning allowance in your configuration settings. So you have a limit on how much it consumes. And furthermore, you can also be able to set a calibration one first. For example, never points UltraCode here at a very broad folder where it just look through everything, right? Let's say if you have 10 or hundreds of folders, it consumes a lot of things. But for myself, I never pointed to the entire repository. I only pointed to just a specific folder with limited files, like 100 files, and just gonna have UltraCode here to execute in that session instead. That will save on the cost when you're using UltraCode here with a specific area that you pointed at. And furthermore, you can also try to enforce the markdown planning strategy. For example, analyze the entire repository structure and output a strict step-by-step implementation plan inside of a markdown file before you actually spin up different sub-agents or writing any code. So you can see that by doing this way, it's going to clarify your intent before AI is going to making any wrong turns. Now, furthermore, there's also some housekeeping things that I recommend, like making sure that you clear your context history before you actually run your UltraCode. So let's say I'm inside my UltraCode session, for example, I'll just make sure that every time I run it, I'll just clear the session because that job has complete. It's going to start a new session because if you were not to do that, then the context that has generated from the previous one is going to compound. That's going to cause a lot more context token consumption if you're going to continue with the same run. So definitely make sure to clear your current sessions before you run your UltraCode workflow. And furthermore, there's also leveraging tier effort controls where you can actually be able to change the effort level for a Claude Code session. Now, you don't have to use dynamic workflow here inside of extra high. That's just recommended from Anthropic. But you can also run dynamic workflow here with high effort or even medium effort. All we had to do here just including the keyword workflow instead of your prompt, and it's going to automatically help you to run that workflow based on what you have described. And you don't really have to always using the UltraCode, which is using the extreme high effort when you're running any workflows. Just a quick recap, make sure to leverage different tiers in terms of the effort level, and also make sure to clear context, and also enforcing AI here to create a plan before it does the executions, and also make sure to clear out the scope so it doesn't run on the entire folder that you have on your repository. And furthermore, make sure to set your thinking level, how much token it consumes for your thinking, so you can cap it on how much thinking power it consumes. So pretty much these are all the 5 tips on how you can save tokens when you're using UltraCode and Claude Code. Alright, so pretty much that's it for this video. In this video, we went over how does it work behind the scene for UltraCode and give you a quick demo on how you can use it. Furthermore, I went over 5 tips on how you can save tokens when you're using UltraCode and Claude Code. And of course, don't forget, if you're looking to diving deep on the 6 dynamic workflow patterns, make sure to check out in our school community because on this Friday, we're going to have a live call where we're going to go over these 6 dynamic workflow patterns. What are my use cases for developers, my business owners, and also the advanced workflows and a Q&A sessions. So pretty much that's it for this video. And if you do find value in this video, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.